Hi, welcome back to the Polymer Clay channel. So today I'm going to show you how to make a clock. I'm going to make all the numbers and the face from polymer clay, and afterwards I'll show you how it works. So here we go. Right, so let's make a start. I've got some scrap clay here. So this is like a dark purpley sort of colour, and I've got the parts for the clock. So what I'm going to do out of this clay, I'm going to make a flat face design. So it's going to be nice and simple, so I can then work out the design after that. So this is what I'm starting with. Okay, so once you get the clay into a nice soft ball, press in the middle and then keep pressing around the outside. And what the idea of this is it keeps its rough sort of round shape as you flatten and go round, and then you'll naturally have a more circular shape. Once it does get more flat and then obviously softer, I then use a roller to make it the size that I want to. Now for this project you do want clay that's not too soft, because the thinner it gets the more flexible it will be. You'll also want a tile that can fit in the oven, but it will be around about the size of a dinner plate. So once I get this nice and flat, I'll be cutting round a dinner plate, which will give me the circumference that I need for the clock. Once the clay does get a bit softer, you can then use more of a stretching motion, and what this will do is keep it in the circular shape while making sure that you can make it obviously a bit bigger. You can make it any thickness you want really, but I'm going by the measurements on the clock pieces. So I need basically the circumference at the longest part. So if you did want to make a smaller one, all you need to do is just get smaller clock parts. So this is a good time to start rolling it flat. Even pressure. Unfortunately you're not able to use a pasta machine for this because the size that you need is going to be much bigger, and I found doing it manually was much easier. If you're rolling on a tile like this, make sure that you do flip it occasionally, because there'll be some clay that does come away from the underside. So basically I'm going to keep going until I've got the desired shape, and then I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so what I did was actually transferred it over to this size tile so it can be moved, and then I placed it on here and rolled out, and then I actually drew round with a knife round a dinner plate. Then I popped it in the oven and it's ready to go. So this is actually it's quite strong, so I made it thick enough to basically withstand holding up. So what I'm going to do now is look at what designs I want on here in terms of the numbers. And then I just checked the circumference here with the middle, so that's roughly the middle, and that's going to work out fine. So before I do the outside with this, I'm just going to measure the clock facing roughly. I'm not entirely sure which way round the hands go just yet, but to find the centre, all you need to do is just measure across and then across, and make a marking in the center where you think it is. Obviously because this is clay, it's not going to be 100% perfect. It's not going to be you know, you're not going to be able to get an exact measurement. There's a slight dip in this side here and one here, but that's part of the art, I think, to be honest with you. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to mark the middle, and then I'm going to use this tool here. This is a Fimo Professional tool, and it's got a little drill piece on the bottom here, and I'm going to use that to mark the hole in the middle. With that, I'm then going to be able to find out how much depth I'm going to need to encase this part at the back, which I can make with this. So what I've done here is I've measured, and I'm just checking the circumference of the clock with the biggest hand that I've got here, just to make sure that it does go all the way round and isn't off the measurements at all. And then I'm just going to use that tool to screw in a little mark, and there we have the center. So I'm just going to carry on doing that so it goes all the way through, and then I'll have the start of my hole there ready for the clock pieces. Okay, so I've put this all together so that I know what sort of clearance I have in terms of like what decorations I'm going to make. So at the minute it does look a bit weird, but it also gave me an opportunity to see the hands as well, and I'm just waiting for it to go past, and it looks like it's fine. So underneath here I now know how much space I have to play with for the numbers, and I know that it's going to work, and so this is a pretty good start, I think. So this I've got off an old clock, and it's just the encasing part. So I'm also going to probably take this apart again, put this inside, put this on the back so it has a little hangy part as well, and that means that basically a trim doesn't need to be made, but it just depends on how I feel the design's going to go at the end. So this is looking really good, so now I'm going to make the numbers. Right, so I left this overnight and it's still ticking. I'm so impressed. And I know I didn't make any of this bit, and it is powered by battery, but you know, I'm impressed that we have a base. And although I noticed what's happening here at the minute is that it's slightly domed, and the reason for that is because it's resting on this part here at the minute, but that's why I've made these. So the idea of these have just come out of the oven, so that's why I've made these, and the idea of this is these are going to go around the outside to support the clock. I've made an extra two just in case these aren't the right depth. I had a sort of check to see what sort of level I needed to make them at, so I just made them out of the same amount of clay. But as I got this one from another clock, I'm going to pop that on, so I will be dismantling this clock and showing you slowly how I did it. The instructions were really simple, so what I'm going to do is put that on the back, and then I will check out the depth again just to make sure that when it is up on the wall I will check to make sure that it's flat. Now because the clock hands are black, I'm going to go with a black design, and also you'll notice here this is goldy, and I didn't really take that into consideration when I bought it because I'm really much more of a silvery sort of person. But what I'm going to do based on that is create the numbers in black, and then I'm going to accent it in gold, and then I might do some little designs around here. And generally, as I've saw with lots of clocks, they have a name here and sometimes a name up here, so I might do something like that as well. Right, so I've selected all my tools. I'll start with the clay. This is Fimo Soft in black, this is Fimo Effect in gold, and then I've got my colour scheme, so I'm going to go for the gold as I said. So I've got some glitter here as well. This is Millionaire by the Beauty Emporium. I love this. This is one of my favourite glitters. It's mostly fine, and it's got some bright, sparkly, multicoloured, tiny little pieces in it as well. So it's really pretty when it goes on. Now I don't usually use stamps for words, but I thought this would be quite nice. Handmade by, and then I'm going to put my surname underneath in my own personalisation. So I'm going to do that, and then as I said, I've got the golds here. I've got two stamps. Now it depends on what sort of style you're going for. I've got some stars here that would work brilliantly. You could stamp the entire clock face. I'm going to give this a go. This is a wooden one. It's got quite deep marks in it, so I'm going to try that one out. I've not tried this before. And then I've got my usual tools. So I've got my craft knife, my little tool for glitter, and dotting tool as I normally get. I actually have a smaller one as well. You'll be seeing me using that, so I'm going to get that out as well. And then must have a tissue blade for this, because it's all going to go on this tile and then it's going to stay put. So I've just done these two numbers just to get a test really. I'm not too sure of the shape of the one. I like the two, but when I've done the roller, I don't actually like this style because I think it would suit more of a wooden clock, which I think what this is designed for. However, what I've done on this bit here is tested it that way round. So I rolled it this way, and then as you saw, I rolled it in different directions, and as you can see, it does actually come out with quite a different look. So I'm just going to look at the different ways that I can create a design on here. So I'm going to look at different designs, and then I'm going to go by the design that I pick for the numbers, and then what I can do with that design is use the idea from that to decorate parts of the clock as well. As I said, it needs to be on a tile that you can move around, so you can get to different parts of the number and make sure that they're all the right size. But also it goes straight in the oven that way, so it's really handy to do. All of the numbers that I'm going to actually glue onto the clock, because I needed to assemble the clock to make sure that it was the right size first. So I'm going to go ahead and have a look at some different designs now. So I've been playing around with different designs here, and as I said, I was just going to go for this one. But what I've actually done is put the numbers on the clock a little while ago, so I'm just going to pop them back on. And it's important to have a look at the numbers to see what you think they're going to look like. So I'm just going to put these a little bit closer. Now, as you can see, now with this you can see not only is it going to look good, is the design what you want, and are the numbers too big or too small, and it's important to test the width of the actual numbers as well. Now, I happen to know I've got quite a lot of clearance underneath the hands of the clock here, so this isn't going to be a problem. And I was going to go again for something swirly because I really like that.
Dry. Do you know I'm looking, and I can't help but smile? Do you know how much I love you? You put my favorite song on.
Right, so I've made the numbers how I would normally make any letters. So I've put them together as you saw. I made this point come out a little bit. I wanted them to have like a quirky look. So I've made them swirly, and I've made the 3 bigger than the 2 because I don't know, I like the style of it not being completely uniform. And as you saw, I made the 6, and then I made another 6 and then flipped it upside down, and I found doing it that way I got the same, roughly the same kind of style. I tried to make 9s and I find it for some reason really difficult to get the right sort of angle for the cut, so I do it that way round. So they're all done. I'm just going to make some designs on this. I have decided not to use any stamps, and I'm just going to make little dots and then put some mica powder on, and then some glitter.
With you everything's complete. Do you know how much I love you? I put your favorite song on just to wake you up. When I dance around, I can't help but feeling I'm just loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? I'm loving this moment. Can we stay here together? could stop the time, don't you know that I would? 'Cause I'm just loving.
So what I've done here with the mica powders is I've brushed it on, as you saw, with just my finger, and I wanted it to have almost a faded look in some areas, so that's why I haven't completely covered some of the marks here, and on this part here it's slightly faded. I did like that look. I like the curls to have a little bit more of a deepness to them, but some places here I've let it fade. And then with the glitter I highlight, so I've just picked certain areas where I'm going to highlight. And because I love this glitter so much, I'm going to make sure that everything that's tipped over the edging of the numbers is going to be swept back into that bag, because I'm running out. Okay, so this is ready to be baked now.
Forever, I'm loving this moment. Can we stay here together? If I could stop the time, don't you know that I would? 'Cause I'm just loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? Forever. 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 I watch you as you drive. Do you know I'm looking?
Okay, so I've made the handmade sign and my surname, and it's going to go in the oven now. Okay, so I'm just going to reassemble the clock to show you how easy it is. So this back part goes in here, this part here, and then you get the face of the clock and pop it through. Now, depending on where you want the face to go, this is the time to work it out. So always keep your finger at the top here, so you know where this is. So this is in the correct alignment. Spin it until you get the place where you want the 12 to be. Pop the washer on. It's a bit fiddly. Now you'll feel a little bit of tension at this point, because it's tightening up against the back part here, and you won't be able to do that by hand entirely. So get it to that point, and then you'll need some pliers. So again, hold it like this, and then tighten to the right. And what this will do is keep it in place. So now you've got the top, and this is where you want the top to be. The reason why I've done this is because I've got a slight dip here and a slight dip here, and I wanted the main focus to be on the flat area here, so to take away the attention from the areas that I'm not quite happy about. Okay, so that's going to stay put now, which means now you have somewhere to hang it straight away as well. So before I put on the clock hands, I'm now going to assemble the numbers. Okay, so this is the fun part. I'm going to pop on the numbers and have a look at where I want everything to go. Now it's quite important to get the area correct. So it's important to get the area right as well. Conscious that I'll be telling the time by this at some point, so it's no good having the two over here. So I've put the numbers where I want them to go, so I'm just going to glue them in place now. Okay, so I'm going to glue the clock stabilizers in place now. Right, let's get the little bits of personalisation in. So again, these are just glued on. So as you saw when I put the letters on to spell my surname, you'll notice it is a bit wonky. It's because I'm sat down and not stood up. So I recommend standing up so you get it straight, or at least put a ruler there. But hey ho, it's art, so I'm going to leave it like that. And then it's always best to put this one on first and check the levels. I did that throughout the design anyway, just to make sure that any of the hands wouldn't catch. You press this one a bit further down, and there is guidance on this little dial here as to where they go. Pop them all on and then put the battery in. So there we go, one ticking clock. Thanks for watching the tutorial. So I'll show you what the clock looks like now. So here we go. I wanted the numbers to look really big, nice and artistic, and then what you wouldn't have seen on the tutorial is where I did the little beads here, and I just glued them in place. I didn't make them out of clay in the end because I just thought it looked quite nice. So this is how you make a clock from Polymer Clay. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon. So today I'm going to make a wall clock, and that's wool, not wall, wool clock. Hi, welcome back to frog. Don't forget we're springing into spring. Don't be late for work. Make a clock. It's not made of wool, it's for the wall.